Underdog, use promo code ALARM. They'll match you up to $100.
I have a cup for Cooper Cup, I guess.
Make sure when you're at the Cheesecake Factory, instead of paying a tip, just write ALARM in there.
I'm like MacGyver with running back.
Yeah, that's pretty true. That's true, and yeah, that's true.
Okay, I'm getting word. We might get Joe Burrow in here. Hey, Joe!
No, I'm not drafting anyone at all.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
I've got information, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. It is lightning round. It is Kevin Tompkins. It is Britt Flinn. It is Andrew Cooper. We got into some rousing discussion before the show. It might tip you off on the purple aesthetic for tonight. But guys, how are we doing tonight?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, we're great. I'm speaking for Coop too, I think.
Streaming. Got in the chat for the show this morning, 6:30 a.m. Here we are, going 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Albert up in the chat. We saw him this morning. I know, Albert, you work a little closer to 9 a.m., so let's not pretend you were up as early as me, but respect to you being there this morning and being here this evening. And Britt Flinn, you were also there this morning on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. How you feeling this evening?
I'm good. I'm tired. But also feel refreshed because I have a full face of makeup now. So I feel a little bit more myself.
You look great on
and
both shows.
I'm glad that I matched the purple aesthetic. So it worked out.
Yeah, lots of purple aesthetic. We were actually talking about Grimace, actually, and the Grimace lore of McDonald's fame, of course. That's what started the conversation, actually, before Coop got into...
Yeah, I didn't even bring it up this time.
No,
so, believe that or not, folks.
Yeah, I started that. And apparently there is multiple extended family of Grimace.
Dude, so I didn't even know that. I know Toronto Dave, Albert, you guys probably know. We talk a little bit about Uncle O'Grimacy, but dude, he's got a whole family apparently, dude. I was on the page earlier. Kev, you have it up
Grimace's? Is it Grimace-I, by the way, to start this off?
It says Grimace's extended family. It's a proper noun.
Okay.
And he's got unnamed parents, but grandma named Winky, great-great-grandma named Jenny, and then two aunts named Millie and Tilly, and then it says a possible brother named King Ganga, who rules over all of the Grimaces. So
this is Game of Thrones. This is McDonald's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to dig into. I think, I'll have to alert the rest of the Front Yard Fantasy crew because we need more than a 1-hour show to dig into this.
Yeah, we need a YouTube documentary. I have no problem. What the hell is that a four-eyed grimace or is that like a Russian nesting grimace?
Look at Britt, dude. That's from they did like a very, very recent drop on that. Me, Craig, Jay had to all get those. Yeah, this is from like this week. Yeah.
See, I thought I was weird trying to explain to sellers the meaning of Taylor Swift songs and how they were actually like metaphorical for like death and stuff. And now you guys go into the grimaces and I'm like, I'm out of my league, man.
Is Taylor Swift that deep?
Evermore is, yeah. Check out Ivy. I'll explain it to you after the show.
yeah, fill me in on the lore, but for now we should probably get to some football. I see people probably leaving the chat as of now, so maybe we should talk a little foosball, what the people came for.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So we talked a little bit about some conclusions that we can make through the first 4 weeks last week. We'll continue the theme, asking some questions here pertaining to with a season-long view. So let's start with this question. What did we get right? We talked about what we got wrong in the first 4 weeks, but after 5 weeks, what did we get right? Whoever wants to start, not me, because you're gonna
go on a diatribe.
Yeah, a little bit, but Britt, what about you?
So I'm very happy that I got the Cortland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy as the number one receiver in Denver, right? And not only did I get that right, I really did think that Jeudy was going to get those targets and those like short yardage passes. Cortland Sutton has surpassed all of my expectations. So he's got 46 targets on the season, 29 receptions. He's first in red zone targets, although he's 39th in actual touchdowns. I think that positive regression is coming, but his reception number is the actual number of targets that Jerry Jeudy has actually seen. So he's just going ham on this Broncos offense. It seems that Russell Wilson trusts him, even as bad as Russell Wilson is. And so I'm kind of stoked that I have a lot of shares of Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, and that you defeated the evil Vegas because Vegas had Jeudy ahead. So I was like full steam on Sutton. I have a bunch of them on like best ball teams in like May and June. And then when Vegas came out with their odds, I kind of pumped the brakes. Wish I stuck with my guns on that one because I wasn't necessarily drafting Jeudy over Sutton, but I was like, okay, if Vegas thinks this is the way it goes, usually they know a little something. But you were right, Britt. You nailed that one.
Yeah, Sutton's been a stud. Like you can't really. I mean, that he is the only thing in that offense. I pour one out for Javonte, but he's been like the only thing in that offense that has worked. Despite the depressed offensive environment. I mean, you have to be looking at him as a guy that he can carry this offense and is almost, you don't want to say quarterback proof considering his quarterback is Russell Wilson. But of course, we must adjust. We are through 5 weeks and we do get new information.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
So, it is what it is, but, keep on pumping up the Courtland Sutton because definitely here for it. And I was definitely drafting more of him than Jerry Jeudy, and glad to at least see one of my takes get right as well. I'll kind of co-opt that with Britt, but Britt gets full credit on that. I'll just piggyback and ride the bandwagon.
Totally allowed. Anytime you want to ride the bandwagon, it's good.
Yeah.
Yo, Coop, I spilled beer on your shoes at the expo. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, that's right. Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. I remember that actually. We were doing the draft for the with the mock draft, dude. But the thing is, I won a bottle of Eagle Rare bourbon during that draft. So
you did. I remember
maybe that beer was good luck, man. So hey, thank you for christening me with a little bit of beer, dude. No problem at all, dude. If anyone's ever sat in front of me at a Bruins game, they've been covered in beer too. So I've made similar moves, man. I wouldn't stress it, brother.
Only the stickiest of floors at Boston Bruins games, thanks to right. One Andrew Cooper, the about to get married Andrew Cooper, by the way. Right, you're on the death march right now. How you feeling?
Pretty busy, man. Pretty busy, dude. Because it's like thing about getting married is like your job or jobs, depending on how many you have, don't really slow down for the nuptials. So been dealing with all that stuff, shining my shoes and all that, while also writing about tight ends and whatnot. So that's all right, dude. Love talking about football. Love shining my shoes. So it's all good.
Yeah. Well, why don't you shine up a little take about what you got right for, after the first 5 weeks?
Yeah. So one, I was pretty adamant about a lot of on tape recordings of that. I do talk for 19 hours a week live between this show, Besties, Front Yard Fantasy, and the morning show. So you could probably find a lot of takes, but there's a lot of takes where I said that Jonathan Taylor doesn't have to be, and in my opinion, was not the number one running back in all formats. For me, especially in full PPR, I was willing to take Christian McCaffrey ahead of him. I was willing to take, Austin Eckler when I was diversifying a little bit. I know John Impemba took it to another level, another fantasy alarm guy of ours, and he actually drafted Austin Eckler number 1 overall. But in a couple leagues, I was selecting 2 and 3 when I had my choice of picks on purpose because I was a little worried. Jonathan Taylor didn't really catch that many passes last year, only caught 40, whereas, CMC was catching a ton. And if you look at it so far this year, Austin Eckler is the number 1 running back so far. Christian McCaffrey's 5. Everyone knows Jonathan Taylor not only struggling a little bit, but also banged up. So feeling happy that I didn't go crazy, trying to get my hands on as much Jonathan Taylor as possible. I really was a little bit concerned, especially in full PPR. So feeling good about CMC and Eckler so far. What about you, Kev?
Yeah, I'll just to kind of piggyback on that. I'll just ride the bandwagon on your takes all night. We'll just do that. But
You were
yeah,
in on that though. You guys were. I feel like you guys were down on the CMC in full PPR though.
oh, absolutely. I mean, we wrote the article on that on Fantasy Alarm about why CMC should be the 101. Still not backing totally off of that. He's getting better usage the last couple weeks. CMC is. Yeah, Taylor's banged up. I mean, it was very. The touchdown regression was real coming into this season for the Colts. I mean, I don't know if we really saw Matt Ryan just taking a tumble like he has so far in the first 5 weeks. We thought that he could be an upgrade over Carson Wentz, and it turns out that the Spider-Man meme is very real between Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, at least so far, because not only has this offense just taken a big downturn, but Taylor's been banged up. So the worst RB1 since 2017, Devonta Freeman. Doesn't look to be repeating. He's going to have to just absolutely demolish worlds to even have a sniff at RB1 at this point. I believe he's RB22 at the current point in time. So tough to see, but running back is the running back position. Not a big take there, but if I do have a take that I guess I got right, I'm going to kind of middle it a little bit with mine, because part of it I got right and part of it we got new information on, but the thesis was always kind of having a little bit of that in mind. It's Gabe Davis. The thesis on Gabe Davis, while the price was a bit prohibitive for what you're buying into, still he's getting 85 to 95 up to 100% of routes every week in an elite offense in Buffalo. And we knew he had spike week potential. This guy could win you leagues. And we saw it last week with what he did against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he had a 98 yard touchdown to open up the scoring for fantasy football. And then he ripped a 62-yard touchdown, ripping the ball away from Minka Fitzpatrick's hands. So a 3 for 171 line on 2 touchdowns on 85% of routes. Like, the fact that, we thought he would be more of a target earner, he hasn't. But still, the fact that he's playing alongside of Stephon Diggs, the fact that he has this spike week potential every week. I mean, guys like Deshaun Jackson, we had no problem with as a high ADOT, low target volume earning guy throughout that. He pretty much made his entire career just on that kind of skill set. I mean, I'm not saying Gabe Davis is that, but he's a similar kind of archetype of wide receiver, certainly bigger and has target earning potential. It just isn't there right now, but what he offers is that spike week potential. And I'm still here for it and still think he can be of value at the ADP that we drafted him at.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Coop.
No, I was going to say, we see plenty of guys like that, like, not just Deshaun Jackson, but like Santana Moss is like that too. Super valuable because he has those spike weeks. Mike Wallace, I mean, like, obviously, he's going to have games where he catches. I know his best game so far has been 4 receptions. He's got 3 and 4 receptions, but he's going to have games that are better than that. So I think that he's basically he reminds me of like a prime Adam Thielen, right? Where it's like, he can break off. He's running super high routes. He's big enough to make plays, and he still has the speed to break it off and score touchdowns. So
who he is? You just reminded me of it. Is like Chargers era Vincent Jackson.
Yeah. Where
like
he would have those like back when he was doing steroids and he was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm still not 100% sold on him as like an every week starter. He still scares me in that regard because of his target share. But I mean, you can't deny those boom weeks where he just goes off like this week. If you guys don't know who are listening to the podcast, my husband Sellers was an avid proponent of Gabe Davis. When that happened, he was running through the house. Gabe Davis, 98-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So
Classic,
I think maybe my apprehension on Davis is because he's such a big proponent and we're just trying to figure out who's right. So I'm being stubborn at this point. But you can't deny, like, when he breaks out, he breaks out.
Right.
So,
and the thing is, like, week 3, they had 91 snaps as a team. He played 87. 87. And then week 4, he had, the team played 63 snaps. He played 62. So he's out there every play. This past week, he didn't play every snap, but that's because they basically took the offense out at the end of the game. Nobody played every snap. Yeah. But like, you can imagine that in normal games, he's going to play every play. He's the field stretcher. He's going to be out there. Britt, that's always going to be a concern with these guys. But like Kev said, there's a lot of guys that we're putting in our lineups that have that concern. I mean, look at Amari Cooper. That dude at any given time can score 2 touchdowns, or he can have 1 catch for 7 yards. Right. And that's what he's always been. And that's what he'll continue to be. But like, I'm starting, I have to have really good players to not start Amari Cooper. And I have to have really good players to not start Gabriel Davis.
Yep.
Agreed. I mean, Britt was talking about Sellers, what he was doing. This may or may not have been seen at the Tompkins compound.
I love that AJ Hawk is not having any of that, dude. Like,
he is the perfect straight man in that entire scenario.
Everybody's going crazy, and AJ Hawk is just like, is this almost over?
Well, I will admit, it was a similar scene here, just with one person.
One person, but making all the noise.
And maybe the dogs. Yeah. I think the dogs were feeding off his excitement, but yeah, just one person was doing that here.
The dogs love big plays.
They do. That is true. There might have also been a motherfucker in there too, from me. With a fist pump. So we got the good out of the way. Maybe there's not so good news for a few of these players that are at the top 12 at their positions. I did put a caveat in here for Coop to not include tight end because I think that was just complete low-hanging fruit. But Britt, I'll start with you again. Who is at the top 12 at their position that's fool's gold at this point of the season?
So I really do think that it's CEH. For the past few weeks, everybody's been like, sell high. He's not going to do this for the entire season. And he keeps producing at an RB1 level. But if you look at his actual snap count and his snap percentage, he has played under 50% of snaps 4 out of the 5 games. What is getting him there is those targets and those random touchdowns, like those shovel passes. And then you look at what happened over the past 3 weeks. Jeric McKinnon is actually playing a higher percentage of snaps than CEH. And now he's kind of started to move himself in there and get a higher target share. I think he's working himself in there to be the passing down back. And once that goes away for CEH, that's lights out for him. And I think, he's one of those guys who can win you games early on and you feel like your team's invincible. But once you get midway through the season, your team just falls apart. And I really do think that is what's going to happen with CEH.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And there's also, you see, Jeric McKinnon playing more than half the snaps, especially on pass plays. So he falls into that script dependent player now for me. So I'm with you. I don't think CH is going to stay up there. And that's simply, you could also factor in that there's a lot of guys that have missed a couple of games that are going to be healthy that I think are going to be top 12. Like I'll say Jonathan Taylor shouldn't have been the RB1 in full PPR, but I still think he will be in the RB1 by the end of the year. Like I think that he has that within the range of outcome. DeAndre Swift, I think he should be up in there. So there's a lot of guys that I think have that potential that are sitting there and that will bring guys like that down naturally. I don't know, Kev, do you think CH can hold on as an RB1 this season?
No, absolutely not.
Ask the running back hater.
Well, of all the running backs, I'm more hating to CEH because I just don't believe in the profile. Like, look, he's on a 17 touchdown pace right now. Almost 40% of his fantasy points are via the touchdown. He's averaged 45% of the snaps, 42% of the rushing attempts, and 10% of target share. So right now, I mean, he's ceding all this work to Jeric McKinnon. I think it's actually more of a boon to McKinnon that Isaiah Pacheco was not involved at all on Monday night. So this is the same Jeric McKinnon, by the way, that had like dead legs in 2020 after coming off an ACL tear. That same guy. So, I mean, the fact that CEH is still ceding work to that guy who he looks like the most athletic. I mean, he reeled off, didn't he reel, what was it, 20-yard pat or 20-yard run and then like another like 10-yard run just back to back. Like they started to run a little bit more of a hot hand kind of approach with those running back with McKinnon specifically. So, I mean, if this just keeps going this way, it's going to be very hard to start CH. I mean, he has 10 plus carries in exactly one game this year. He's just living off of the touchdowns. And this offense has to skew more toward the wide receivers at some point, because there have been really, I mean, any game that Travis Kelce gets 4 touchdowns on 25 yards receiving. I mean, that's outlier of outlier stuff. Not saying that because of being Travis Kelce, but just the fact that he got 4 short touchdowns like that. I mean, I think CEH was down at like the 1 at one point, and then Kelce ended up getting one of those touchdowns. So like that variance will swing the other way, but it's got to swing to the wide receivers at some point, because pretty much all of them outside of Marcus Valdes-Scantling have been disappointments, and MBS has been a disappointment too. But yeah, it's got to swing that the other way.
He looked good on Monday though.
Yeah, imagine if like Green Bay had a wide receiver like Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean,
imagine if
what would that be like?
Imagine if one of Juju or MVS ever scored a touchdown.
Can I just bring up this trade offer that I got today?
Yeah.
Somebody offered me Alan Lazard, who we are known haters of, for J.K. Dobbins. And I'm like, with running back scarcity, you're offering me Alan Lazard? Are you kidding me?
In this economy?
Lazard's playing a lot of snaps, dude. I never was a Lazard hater. You guys.
I'm not a hater, but I'm not giving up my running back, especially like the number 1 running back.
He's touchdown dependent wide receiver. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just can't do it. Anyway, it's a tangent. Sorry, I just had to bring that up. It's been bugging me all day.
So you guys said I couldn't pick tight ends. I think that's fair.
I did not say that.
Yeah, that just gives you the reason to say
Taysom Hill. It's on the show sheet that I can't pick tight ends. I also spitefully found another low-hanging fruit option that I will not use, but I will mention it. Jamal Williams would have been an easy one to pick here, right? And say that he wasn't going to finish top 12. I think he's RB11 and DeAndre Swift will be back. But instead, there's one here that I think is, I mean, there's a bunch of good reasons for it, but he's currently our wide receiver 6 in full PPR. That's Marquis Brown, right? Mm-hmm. He is over there currently the captain of the Lollipop Guild with his other brethren, 5'9", 5'6", Rondell
3-6
Moore,
Mafia,
Greg Dortch, Kyler Murray himself. But the king is going to return shortly. Gigantor, DeAndre Hopkins, towering over everyone at 6'2". So I think, and when you look at the things that we look at for regression, like it's not just the fact that DeAndre Hopkins could be back. Like this, yeah, I know. Sorry,
we destroyed Britt.
This team this team's throwing 43 times a game. That's what like Tom Brady was throwing last year when he like went out of control throwing the ball. After Tom Brady, nobody else threw the ball more than 40 times last year. Essentially every year over the past 3 years, only one team has thrown it over 40 times. The second team has been 39 all 3 of the last 3 years, right? So this team, I think, is due to regress in pass attempts. They're bringing back their best pass catcher, and Marquise Brown hasn't been terribly efficient. The one game that he had his best game, I was actually at that game and, watching the full game undistracted, and he did not look good. It just looked like a very little dude catching a bunch of dump downs because that's what the Rams are giving them, right? That's how you get 17 targets, 14 catches on 17 targets for 140 yards. Like that's his best game, which is really propping him up in PPR. But you look at some of these other games, even on 11 targets, getting like 68 yards, 78 yards. That's not going to continue when DeAndre Hopkins gets back. And Rondell Moore just got back too. So I think he probably ends up somewhere in the wide receiver 2 range, but I don't think he's wide receiver 7 or 6 or wherever he is. I forgot. Well, I just said it a second ago. I remember.
6.
But there's 6. There you go. There's no chance that in my opinion, that he stays there. If you can cash out on Marquise Brown based on, offer trade offers to that dude that just looks at the box score and doesn't think about the big picture, see if you can move him. Now's the time. Scamper says, I like little rascals, dude. That's so mean. But I mean, like, dude, these guys are rich. We can say whatever we want. And, dude, they're also tiny.
And I mean, even a reporter did, so it's already been done.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's already been done.
Marquis Brown's 5'9". He's gigantic compared to Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore
I typically have a rule that I don't draft fantasy players that are shorter than me. And it's really hard for the Cardinals roster to make that rule happen. I think that Marquise Brown is still going to be good, like you said. I think he can still keep up that target production because once DeAndre Hopkins does come back, he's going to draw the focus of the number one cornerbacks. And if they're on Hopkins, then Brown's still going to get those targets, but I don't think he's going to get those high value targets. And I don't really think he's going to be able to do a lot with them. So like PPR, yeah, he'll grab up a bunch of garbage. But I don't think he's going to have those touchdowns, that big playability. So yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you.
Well, this also assumes too that 30-year-old DeAndre Hopkins it can just still be like 26, 27-year-old prime DeAndre Hopkins, which I think he's, 30 years old. He's not dust. He's not AJ Green, but, Hopkins coming back to me really affects one of Zach Ertz or Rondale Moore as far as target earning potential. I think Marquise Brown is a little bit insulated. He'll just have to be a little more efficient with the targets that he's getting. And from what we've seen, that hasn't been the case when he's been the focal point of the passing game. So to expect that when he's the second target, presumably, I think that's a bit rich. So I'm fully, he's probably will finish in like the wide receiver, like 13 through 18 range. I think that's a good spot for him to kind of land there. I think he'll taper off a little bit, but I mean, would it surprise me if he stuck around the fringes of the wide receiver ones? It wouldn't surprise me. That just depends on how much DeAndre Hopkins still has left in the tank and whether he can still command targets at like a 26 to 30% clip.
DeAndre Hopkins is only 30. He's amazing. He's going to be great, as he always is.
Yeah. Like Allen Robinson's.
Thing is, there's a possibility that Kyler Murray ends up being the buy low here.
Yeah. I mean, how many double XP
I've actually thought about that.
We got coming up?
No, I have thought about that a lot. I actually thought about putting that in a hot take article, but I was like, I have too much Kyler Murray. I can't put that in a hot take article. Let's just buckle that up and put it inside.
Britt Flinn self-sabotage.
Yeah, I can't do it. I do that enough, so I can't do it with fantasy.
I love it. All right. Well, I can't believe we've already gone through half an hour. So let's talk about the week 6.
Kev, you didn't do yours, did you?
Did I not do mine? Oh, okay. Gino Smith. Yeah. Let's talk about Gino Smith, shall we?
Super megastar, Gino Smith, please.
Yeah. And I got to pull up this. I got to find it here from Wendy. If you do eat a ream of paper, maybe run it through the shredder first. Yeah. So that was a nice shout out to Fantasy Receipts there about how I get to eat a ream of paper if Gino Smith doesn't finish, or if he finishes top 5 this year, which I don't think. Dude. Yeah, that's 500 sheets. I'm gonna have to make that in a nice. It's gonna look like the liquid paper going down my gullet when he finishes his QB3, and I'm just sitting there sucking back.
How bad is that for you? Like, how much paper can you eat before it's actually like real bad for you?
I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some kind of YouTube video on that's got like 4.5 million views.
Yeah, the dude eats a whole.
Someone had to do that for science.
I bet it's okay. If you make sure you get like toxic stuff, but like anything else, like if you eat too much of it, no matter what, like you could eat a ridiculous amount.
Drink water. Yeah, you can drink water and die. Remember the like girl that did like she drank like gallons and gallons of water to like win a Nintendo Wii and died. Yeah, she basically drowned herself.
So be careful, dude. Don't be the dude that does that with paper.
Yeah, I won't go paper chasing.
I think if you eat one sheet of paper, that would probably satisfy everyone.
Well, does eating paper and then like reformulating it into spitballs count?
I mean, even then, an entire ream would be impossible.
I mean, I would rather just put that in a blender and like throw some water, throw some ice, throw some kale in there.
That would be liquid paper, 100%. But like literally liquid paper.
I won't be able to erase that mistake I made when I made that take.
Oh, man.
According to Massachusetts General Hospital gastroenterologist Dr. Kyler Staller, not particularly dangerous, but has zero nutritional value. So,
Okay.
Well, that's about on
Just
par with most of
big
the other
waste of
crap I
time.
eat. So
exactly. It's just
Like
mix
the
it in
guy
there
who
with
ate
Chinese food.
$28 of Taco Bell.
Boy.
yeah,
Like
like
2 tacos
come
these days.
what did that dude eat at Taco? Like there are stoners out there that don't eat $28 for the Taco Bell.
No.
Well, dude, I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys ever eaten chicken nuggets, so you can't anymore, but like it's not the getting full that stops you. In my experience, in my firsthand experience, it's actually there. I know, of course, you could probably defeat this via maybe some. I mean, I use some sauces, but it's the fact that you're eating so many of these salty, sharp things that it just destroys your mouth, dude. Like the top of your mouth after you've had like 50 chicken nuggets, it's like
It's like eating Captain Crunch.
It's physically painful. It's physically painful. Like now I know why these guys like soak stuff in water when they're eating it with like the
Joey
when they do the
Chestnut,
contest. Yeah, like, dude, that's what stops you, dude, because you can feel that salt and like, oh man.
But
I mean, we
50
put away some
chicken nuggets?
tacos in Canton.
50 chicken nuggets is when it starts hurting.
50.
That's not when you stop. That's when it starts being physically painful.
Oh my god.
Just saying.
So yeah, Gino
I
Smith.
love also you say we put away a lot of tacos in Canton.
No, it was me and Coop and Sellers. You might have been asleep at that point, but yeah, I remember me and Coop got the Airbnb, Uber driver, Lyft driver to go through the drive-through. That was pretty classic.
Pretty important moment in that weekend, I will say.
A seminal moment.
I also had a taco in the morning too.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Let's talk about some football here, or at least some more football. Player situation that we're excited to see week 6. Coop, go to you.
Wendy, not 50 at a time on a regular basis. That was a one-time chicken nugget eating contest that ended in damn near tragedy. But
by the way, 101 of sauces is honey mustard.
Sweet and sour.
Mustard, strong sauce. You know what? You guys I've been making my own Chinese mustard at home. And I love that stuff, dude. Yeah, like
look
the Chinese,
at you getting all domestic. It's
the
so
Chinese,
cute.
The Chinese food restaurants ones, dude. It's literally just like
changes
the
the
powder in the water. It's literally just the powder, but it's like I'm not. The thing is, they don't sell good ones at the store. Like I want it to be like watery, like the restaurant. But anyway, that's enough chicken nugget talk. This has been Chicken Nugget Talk on Fantasy Alarm. And if you feel like going on websites like Underdog Fantasy, use promo code ALARM, get a ton of money, get a ton of chicken nuggets, eat them until your mouth is painful, because you're going to save so much money using promo code ALARM that you'll be able to afford chicken nuggets despite the ever rising prices out there. Use it on Prize Picks, promo code ALARM, use it on chicken nuggets. Give it a try. See what they say, But anyway, what was the question you asked, Kev?
Oh my, I don't even know anymore.
You're the thing that you're excited about.
Yeah. What are you excited about there?
Chicken nuggets, Fantasy Alarm,
Mr. Rose.
Chicken nuggets, Fantasy Alarm, and it's funny that it's good transition because you just talked about Gino Smith. I'm excited to see Gino versus Kyler Murray. This is kind of like we're deep enough in the season that we have a big sample size, but like we just talked about, we still have these questions about who's a fraud, who's not. Like I want to know if Kyler Murray is a fraud. I want to know if Gino Smith is a fraud. And in this game, where it's going to be like a 52-point over-under game, probably by the end of the day, by the end of the week, I think it's already up to, 51.5, I think it was the last I saw, or 50.5, somewhere in that range. Like, this is probably going to be in that range in terms of over-under. So you can't hide in these games, right? So this is going to be the perfect matchup to see if these dudes can hang in a divisional matchup, high-scoring game, both scrambly quarterbacks that, Kyler, we think he's this great player. And then there's Gino, who's playing like this great player, but we have our doubts. Now we get to see him show off and see who really stands the test. So I'm excited for that game. I think that's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a good one to stack in DFS, in my opinion, too.
And we're also going to get to see, like, if Seattle's offensive line can kind of withstand Arizona's D line. Like JJ Watt was out week 1. Their secondary was completely decimated. Their defense has kind of come along a little bit. I mean, they held Philly to only 17 points. So I think that's going to be really exciting too, to see how all these bits and pieces of this offense fit together.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. They have the third highest over under 50.5 right now. And somehow, like, I'm looking at the slate and looking how much like Tampa's passed the ball. They have a less implied point total than the Cardinals do, which kind of seems wild to me right now. At 26, Arizona's at 26.5. But yeah, I want to see who is the most fraudulent quarterback here, and I think it'll be Gino Smith. I mean, the other shoe has to drop at some point for him. I don't think he can just he can't keep getting away with this. That's everything I lead to right now. But we'll see. Ken Walker, if for some reason he was dropped in your league and you won that waiver claim on him, it's a pretty solid matchup for him to be able to run wild. So maybe the pass attempts will come down a little bit, and Geno Smith will have to, maybe this will be a game manage kind of game, or else it'll just be both teams scoring like 50 points, and then it's basically Big 12 football.
And I just want to add real quick so Kev just mentioned the implied point totals. If you're a Fantasy Alarm member, like I know Wendy is, if you go to the NFL DFS Tools Hub for Fantasy Alarm members, there are so many tools in there that are ridiculously awesome. Like if you go to the Vegas page, you can see the implied point totals, which basically does the math, takes the over-unders and the spread, figure out what team is supposed to score what, and you can just straight up see like, okay, this week, based on the odds, the Bills are expected to score like 27 points. And you look at like Washington, they're expected to score like 18 points. It's supposed to be terrible. So it can help you to make your start and sit decisions. And on the other side, an even better tool, you go to the matchups tool in there, and you can pull up the preview. Matt Sells did this. He's like an Excel wizard, like genius, dude. Now, 3-time NASCAR Raider of the Year in the last 4 years. And he just has all these crazy Excels. And you go in and see like, it has all the rankings for DVOA, points per game, for all the positions. You can see like, Cardinals are, second worst team against the tight end, but the Seahawks are the number 1 worst team against the tight end. You can see that, the Cardinals are 8th against the quarterback. Seahawks are 9th. Like he's got everything in there. He's even got the pace of play stats in there. So if you're a Fantasy Alarm member, make sure you go to that. The DFS Tools Hub. Honestly, I don't play too much DFS, but I use these all the time in my start sits for my real leagues. So make sure you're popping in there and checking that stuff out.
And I've started helping Sells out with the writing of the previews as well. So
I was about to say, the writing has improved drastically this year. You can tell that it wasn't
you
Sells.
just know that I'm spicy.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's how you tell.
Yep.
So wait.
Spicy
So Matt
like
Sells,
homemade mustard.
So Matt Sells didn't write the Commanders versus Bears one. The first word is "yay" with an exclamation point.
No, he actually did do that one.
Shut up.
He did it. One? Yeah, he wrote that one.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep.
Robots are showing more emotion these days.
That's right, dude. Matt Sells, dude. He is a wizard, dude. And Matt Sells is hilarious, dude. If you don't follow him on Twitter, make sure you follow him. Matt Sells, the back-to-back NASCAR Raider of the Year, and then they let someone else win because he was winning too much, and then he won again. Like, this guy's a genius.
Absolutely.
100%. Britt, what about you?
So I don't know if there's any other answer here. Like, Bills and Chiefs. We've been waiting on this to happen since the AFC divisional matchup and all of that crazy stuff that happened with overtime and the coin flip, which completely got overtime rules changed. I mean, if that is not iconic, what is? And then not only do we just get another rematch and revenge game, but the Bills went out in free agency and completely overhauled their roster so that they would be the ones to beat in the AFC. I cannot wait to see Stephon Diggs against Rashad Fenton. I cannot wait to see Gabe Davis break off. I can't wait to see Buffalo's defense and see also Kansas City lost Tyreek. They lost Pringle. They lost DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, there are so many differences in both of these teams. I cannot wait to see how this shakes out. And I really don't have any analysts or analysis on this. I just want to see this game. I'm super stoked for it. Can't wait. I think it's going to hit the over. I think Buffalo's going to win. And also, I think that it's weird that both of their regular season matchups have been in Kansas City the past 2 years. What's up with that?
And this is the first time in like 47 home games in a row that Patrick Mahomes is the underdog for a game. This is like in the 300 when that like one spear gets through and it hits Xerxes in the side of the mouth and like the rings go flying and they're like, oh no, this guy's mortal. You know what I mean? And then like they get ready for the big showdown. But like that's how I'm feeling about this. I'm like, wait a second, dude. Xerxes is the underdog here? What, dude? Xerxes in that movie looked like he looked like Jason Taylor. That's what he reminded. I honestly thought it was Jason Taylor when I first saw him.
He's an actor, though. That's plausible at the very
Should have
least.
been him.
But
should have been him.
Yeah, look. There's going to be another player that's going to be scoring 4 touchdowns in a game that involves the Chiefs. I mean, it's going to be another repeat of the divisional round game where Gabe Davis scores another 4 touchdowns. So I guess we can look forward to that. And this will be the one game that I turn off Red Zone and actually just go to this game, because what could be better than this game?
Hey, Kevin, if that happens, can I say that I'll eat paper?
Absolutely. We'll clip this right now. 4107 right now. There are witnesses, Scampers, Toronto Dave, Bandit, Wendy. We are sellers. We are all witnesses.
If Gabe Davis, I'm just going to say it out loud. If Gabe Davis has a 4 touchdown game against the Bills, I will personally eat paper. I
just posted a link. Somebody did tweet out. Looks like it was actually like Mark Schlereth that posted out a picture of Jason Taylor next to Xerxes from 300. And I am not convinced that those are 2 different dudes. I just said it. I just posted from the Lightning Round account in the chat. Check that tweet out. Like those are the same dude.
By the way,
except Jason Taylor's bigger and stronger.
Do I have your permission to clip this and send this to Fancy Receipts?
I mean,
don't get them in here.
You guys have both self-submitted. I've been over in the corner hiding because I'm terrified.
Dude, you better send your receipts in now before that account has 150,000 followers, dude.
Right, because they're on the way. They already got. Aren't they at 5K or close to it right now? Like,
they DM'd me.
Wild.
They DM'd me and they're like, "I'm watching you." Like while we were doing our stream on Monday, and I was like, "Here's all my bad takes, dude." You know what I mean? Like, just leave me alone.
Here's an Excel. Cells put it together. Here you go.
Listen,
like here you go, dude.
I'm too insecure. If I have a bad like hair day, I will cry. I don't know if I can handle anybody like putting my laundry out on receipts. I know it's going to happen, but actually I don't know it's going to happen because Gabe Davis isn't scoring 4 touchdowns. So there we go.
There you go.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. So the one thing what I'm excited about this Tampa Bay passing game finally getting back to being the Tampa Bay passing game that we all know and love, with high pass volume, with Chris Godwin, with Mike Evans, with Tampa Bay phasing out Leonard Fournette and letting Rachaad White get some run, Russell Gage becoming borderline dust. It's good times in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's last week, their pass rate over expectation was plus 18.2%. And now keep in mind the week before they were at 90% pass rate. Just for fantasy goodness, it's great to see Chris Godwin, back and running 85-90% route shares. Tom Brady slinging the ball. We love to see it. So the fact that, like I said about the implied point total, that it's still wild to me that against Pittsburgh, who is, Buffalo just put up 38 points on them. Tampa Bay, I think they could put up a 50 burger on Pittsburgh, honestly. So it's going to be tough times for the Steelers for a little bit, but at least Kenny Pickett can get about 400 yards in garbage time. Passing times probably could hit 55, 60. He hit 52 last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super, super nervous about this Steelers defense. Like they've got injuries out the wazoo. Minka Fitzpatrick has multiple injuries. He's been the only bright spot basically this season since
Bruised ego too from Gabe Davis.
Yeah. You got sunned. You got
Tough scene.
little Boyd there.
you know. But I mean, we saw what Buffalo did to them. I mean, I was fully admitting that. And then you've got Tom Brady with a full arsenal. Like that defense in Tampa is just completely crazy. I don't really think Pittsburgh has a snowball's chance in hell of even putting up like the bare minimum of points. So yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be dirty, which is like what you said earlier, Kev. Like how is the implied point total that low for Tampa? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I think Tom Brady, and the thing is, this is what happens with Tom Brady sometimes is that when he's not playing well, he just comes out and destroys whatever team is next. Like when they lost that one game and then they steamrolled the Bengals the very following week. Like this could be a game where they just decide, hey, we're going to get our offense and our team right this week and just crush the Steelers. So I'm with you.
Yeah, and Wendy, Fournette has been fine. He's still, a borderline RB1, but Rachaad White's been getting a lot more receiving work. He's the clear number 2 option in Tampa Bay, and for me, if something were to happen to Fournette, Rachaad White in the leagues that he is available in, he would be getting, if not more than Kenneth Walker, at least probably the same fab attention for that. So I think just with his rushing and receiving profile, I think it's good for Tampa Bay to at least get Rachaad White more run, considering Leonard Fournette shouldn't be able to do this all by himself, and the other options behind him are the ghost of Gio Bernard and the dust pile of Keyshawn Vaughn. So yeah, Rachaad White's awesome. We'll see what happens with him if he can get more of a standalone role, which they said he was gonna get more involved, and they did not lie. This is the complete opposite of Bruce Arians, where Bruce Arians will literally lie to your face.
Only Leonard Fournette would be like, I'm playing too much.
Like maybe Miles Sanders
play, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why don't you guys play? Like, what is he doing, dude? Come on. That's a veteran
Maybe
move.
he's just
like,
being
come
nice.
on, sub in. No, he's definitely being late.
He's a good guy.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
Let the kids play.
Let the kids play. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's like he gets the first shot at Christmas morning. He gets a Nintendo 64 and he's playing with it for like 7 hours. And he's like, oh, it's 2 a.m. I can play.
I mean,
It's
meanwhile, Keyshawn Vaughn's sitting there with his controller's not even plugged in.
He's playing Atari, right? He's playing Pong.
He's like your little brother. You hand him the controller and you're like, you're that guy. And it's like his controller's not plugged into anything.
No, the parents take the actual system upstairs. They don't want him playing, but they let him have the controller. So he's just sitting in front of a TV that's off with an unplugged controller, like pretending he's playing.
When you're a young enough kid, man, you can have a good day doing that. Just saying.
Yeah, that is true. Your imagination can run wild. We're going to have to blow through these pretty quickly. One player situation that we're nervous about in week 6.
I go first. I can go quickly. I can go first. Evan Engram. He had a couple good target games first 2 weeks. Then he had a rough matchup, and then he had the Hurricane game. Came back last week, 10 targets, but he's still completely unsettled. This week, this has been one of the defenses that has not done well against the tight end. Shaq Leonard might be out again. He's been banged up all year. This, for me, is like this week will decide if we trust Evan Engram or not. So I'm nervous that he has another bad game, and then he'll have three good target games and 3 bad target games, and then you can't trust him. So I am nervous about that. Britt,
Yep.
What are you nervous about?
Well, I was just about to say it, but Scamper stole it in the chat.
Ooh,
Najee Harris, man.
Little scamp.
Obviously they played against a really tough Buffalo defense last week. He only averaged 1.8 yards per carry, which was extremely disgusting. But even on the season, he's only averaged like 3.2 yards per carry. He's not getting the targets that he was last season. He's basically just in there for pass pro. because that offensive line is such trash. And we all drafted and or kept Harris at such a high price that he is not paying off. And the schedule going forward is absolutely brutal. I'm terrified of Najee going forward, but at this point, the running back position is so gross, even on waivers. We haven't seen that like breakout candidate, except for Kenneth Walker, because he's out there in all of your leagues. No, he's not. There's nobody for running back that you can pick up. So you're just kind of stuck with it if you have Najee. And I'm stressed.
Yeah, it's a tough scene out there. I was talking in the Fighting Chance Fantasy group chat about how Najee Harris, somebody was talking about whether they should, be dropped. He could be like one of those just gigantic pitfall trap ads for somebody else who blows their entire fab on a borderline, first rounder or what he was before the season. So it's tough scene out there for Najee Harris, but what I'm concerned about is one of my favorite players, one of the guys that I put a lot of stock into. That's J.K. Dobbins. We've talked about the Baltimore Ravens. Pretty much the only person in that offense that's immune to the personnel game is Mark Andrews. We thought maybe J.K. Dobbins, coming back, and they released Kenny Drake, but then they brought him back on the practice squad, and he's been active now. Not only that, but like Mike Davis with Rashad Bateman out, Devin Duvernay was seeing snaps in the backfield on Sunday night. So he took a 10% reduction. Dobbins did in snaps last week. So it's not trending great for him as far as seizing that backfield. It's, when you just add multiple slices, into this pie, you keep cutting off pieces. I mean, you can't just get that piece, the big piece of pie. So the ghost of Mike Davis, the corpse of Kenyon Drake, if Devin Duvernay is doing his best Deebo Samuel impression, it's all good, just going to cut into the upside of J.K. Dobbins, and you hate to see it.
Yeah, Kev's buying straight into spooky season with all those references. But, 100%. Like in week 4, Dobbins came out and had this like 22, 23-point game. And, on the stat line, it looked great. But if you actually looked at it from between the 20s, he didn't do anything. It was all goal line work, and it was very consolidated high value touches. Then he didn't see that on Sunday, and I'm not really sure that he's going to see that going forward. I admit I was a big J.K. Dobbins truther, and now I'm concerned because I'm not seeing what I thought I would see out of him. So I 100% agree with you, Kev.
The Gus, Scamper says the Gus of Christmas future. Yeah. You can hear the chains rattling already as Gus Edwards potentially returns.
Yeah. John Harbaugh, will you please just play J.K. Dobbins more?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Fair.
Well, at least we asked. And then last one, Kev, what's the last topic we have today?
I mean, we've only done this for about a year now. This is just proof positive that Coop just strolls in like 2 minutes before the show starts, looks over the show sheet. Hey, what are we doing tonight? All right, cool.
No, we're exhausted. 6:30 a.m. was early for me. I can't imagine how early it was for him an hour earlier on the East Coast.
We're always ready to talk football with the gang, dude. Scamper's up there in the morning, dude. If Scampers get up in the morning, hang out with the Front Yard Fantasy crew, if Albert can be up in there with the gang, Wendy, then I got to be up. I'm ready to talk ball with all you guys. I got the show sheet for you. I'm ready to talk with you.
So what is one question that you want answered about a player situation week 6 for the audio listeners?
Pretty easy. Is Bailey Zappi good, or is he great? Because clearly we've got ourselves a little bit of a Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady situation here. Everybody loved Drew Bledsoe, $100 million man. That's your Mac Jones. You got Bailey Zappi here coming in disrespected despite being the passing yards leader in the FBS. Pierre Strong now coming on with Damian Harris injured. the FBS rush yard leader. I mean, I don't know, kind of a little theme going here, dude. Pretty strong setup for this New England Patriots team. Everybody disrespecting them as well. You know, I put out a poll last week that said, well, who's the best one-win team? And everyone's picking the Lions and they're picking the Raiders. But what happened? Patriots dead last in the poll. They go up against the Lions, get smoked. 29-0. Bailey Zappi, super megastar. So that's what I want to see answered, dude. This guy's obviously a monster. He's a force. And with that comes a lot of fantasy points. So I'm wondering, you know, is it going to be Jacoby Myers scoring again? Is it going to be Hunter Henry getting involved again? Or maybe it's going to be somebody else this time. But interesting stuff. And I guess also, you know, we could ask with Damian Harris out, who is going to be the other back with Ramondre Stevenson dominating as well. But
you're saying,
you know,
who's going to go in the James White role?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Ramondre was in that James White role, and then now Ramondre has to go into the Damian Harris role.
Could be a strong challenger.
I think it's Pierre Strong, dude. Fastest
ding,
RB
ding.
at the combine. You know what I'm saying?
True, and yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. So none of this comes from a place of homerism. Of course not. I would never say anything like that. You know, despite
Never.
me wearing a Red Sox World Champion.
Expired.
The Red Sox expired. If Red Sox were a jar of mayonnaise, it would say expired in like March. Like that team was dust from a long months ago, dude.
Yeah, March of like 2017.
Yeah, it was still cold in Boston when they were done. Like early spring cold, you know, and now it's cold once again.
They came back from Florida and they were like already scheduling tea times.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, Bailey Zappi, that's the question I want answered. And you guys don't even need to address it. I think I pretty much said it all. So why don't you guys go ahead and give me the questions you guys want answered?
Well, I just have to say the Drew Bledsoe Tom Brady comparison is getting extremely old to me as a Cowboys fan who Cowboys haters keep putting the Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott narrative on me about that. And I'm like, get that out of here. But
Tony Romo and who was it at the time?
And Dak. It was Dak.
Well, dude, but Romo came in when he
Romo
was
came
Drew
in
Bledsoe.
for Drew Bledsoe.
or Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes
I'm like,
Wow,
y'all
yeah,
just
that was
stop it.
Sunday Night Football, I believe, against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys just stop it. Like Dak is still going to be our starter. But anyway, I want to know, because I've written so much on Taysom Hill, is he actually going to be legit, or is this just another smoke and mirror show in front of
Is that the
the
Taysom
entire
Hill alarm going off?
It
That's
was.
the one, dude.
It 100% was.
Burnett at 10:30.
Promo
goes
code
off.
alarm.
Nice job.
But I want to know if Taysom Hill is
Nailed it.
legit, if they're going to continue to use him as this multidisciplinary gadget guy, or if he's just going to exist to infuriate you. And depending on who is healthy and who's not this week, I think we'll get a clearer answer. But I'm still not sold on him. I don't know. I think you have to put him in there, but I have to see more.
I don't know how people can make these clicks into their lineup to put Taysom Hill like on purpose.
Sellers did it. He was high score.
Sellers is a freaking nature.
Sellers is he's the walking hype machine, dude. He's like, he eats hype for breakfast every morning, which I love that about Sellers. But well, I bet when Sellers wins, he probably puts up 270 points, and when he loses, he probably puts up 10.
You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely spot on correct.
Sellers, dude.
Like
legend.
that
He's
dude
a
was
legend.
playing Khalil Shakir like 3 weeks ago. Maybe.
Beast. Genius.
By the way, sorry, Wendy. We only root for teams that are actually successful. Coop wouldn't know.
What are you
Britt,
talking about, dude?
Brett, are you a Dodger fan?
Mm-hmm. Can't help
they
it.
don't
My dad was.
No, they don't matter. Sorry. The only we root for the Yankees around here, so yeah, it's about time. Hey, it's been more than 10 years. We're due. The thing that I want answered about player situation: can Zach Wilson be more than a game manager? So since Zach Wilson's come back, the Jets have been a lot more run heavy, and we've seen a lot of that affect the pass catchers. I mean, we've seen the big downturn in Tyler Conklin just turning into a pumpkin, if we want to keep the Halloween theme going here. And then, I mean, Elijah Moore is not far from a pumpkin. Garrett Wilson's a gourd right now. So, yeah, it hasn't been good for the Jets pass catcher. It's been great for Breece Hall. It's been a bit good for Michael Carter, but I mean, Zach Wilson really hasn't had to like win a game with his arm. And I mean, he's made some fourth quarter plays, but as far as volume and what we want in fantasy, it really hasn't been that great for Moore or for Wilson. It's been okay for Corey Davis. I believe he had a touchdown 2 weeks ago. That's pretty much it. But the Jets are concerning me. This is a complete turn away from what Joe Flacco was doing, was just pass attempts up the wazoo and being able to just pepper these guys with targets. And now we're seeing the script kind of get flipped with Zach Wilson here. So I want to see the Jets being able to win a game off of his arm rather than handing the ball off. And that's going to help, you know, those weapons that we've been talking about for, you know, pretty much since the start of after the draft with Garrett Wilson and then Elijah Moore taking that next step up. And again, tough scene.
100%. If you read my hot takes back in week, 2, I said that Joe Flacco should remain the starter at least for a few weeks over Zach Wilson because of this very exact reason. Because Wilson is just a game manager at this point.
Yeah. I mean, he's the future, but yeah, it's
not
a future assistant manager at GameStop.
It's not as exciting as Flacco. Even Flacco, you know, we conveniently forget that, you know, for fantasy football, we care about volume, especially if we're not starting the quarterback, right? We just care about him throwing it to everybody. But he had the 4th worst QBR over that 3-game span there. I was actually looking at it, dude, and Joe Flacco still has more pass attempts. So he only played 3 games. He hasn't played the last 2 games. He still has more pass attempts than Marcus Mariota. He has more pass attempts than Ryan Tannehill. And he has
Fields.
Way more pass attempts than Fields. After this week, don't steal this
no.
tweet. I already have it like ready to rock and roll, but no chance Fields throws 40 passes this week. So he'll have more pass attempts still after this week. So
yeah,
throw that out there.
Agreed. But it was
Good
good for
stuff.
fantasy, though.
It was good, man. Huck it, chuck it, football, pigskin.
That's the you know what? We talk about all these clips that we need in the hopper here, and that's one of them, the Huck it, chuck it football.
I just want the Blink-182 one back, dude.
I'm waiting for you to send it to me.
I've sent you a bunch of times. Why didn't you even send it to you again? Where you don't have it anymore?
No, why would I have it?
Okay, I'll send it to you. All right, we gotta go. Say bye, everyone. Bye, bye, Uncle.
Oh, that's how we
Grimace.
close the show.
We're very
huh?
tired.
I'm gonna send you an
Bye,
email
Millie
now.
and Tilly.
Now I got homework to do. Bye, Millie and
Oh.
Tilly. Bye, Uncle O Grimacy. Bye, Scampers. Bye, Wendy. Bye, Mark.
Yep.
Is that
What
it?
by John Boy?
Bandit, John Boy, the gang.
So Coop, are you going to be here next
Toronto
week?
Dave, of course.
Are you honeymooning? Or are you
Yes.
talking about Tyler Higbee on streams next week?
Yeah, so I won't be on my honeymoon until
After the
we
season?
leave around Halloween. So
Where are you going?
We're going to Europe. So I'm going for a couple weeks. I filled it out on the sheet. I'm gonna miss the 2nd, the 9th, and the 16th because I'll be away.
Ooh.
So I guess it's
Fancy.
trying to fill in for me. Maybe
Old Gary
Gary
Haddow.
Haddow. That's who I request. But you know, in Pemba, somebody, you know, fill in somebody
love
that's a little
We
fun.
will find as suitable a replacement and to honor you in your trip through the Europe, who we won the war against. You know, we'll
Saved
make
them.
sure we get that all set.
Saved them from themselves. And I'm
We
gonna
really
remind
did.
everybody.
I mean,
why
we didn't
did
win the
that.
war to have to get up at 8:30 Central Time to watch football.
Should I be that obnoxious dude that wears a shirt that says like back-to-back World War champs?
Do not. You will
Do
get your
it.
ass kicked.
We did.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
English was invented in America.
That's right, dude. Americans, we invented pizza.
Where Coop, wear the get up. Wear the Revolutionary War get up.
I do have that, dude. I do have that, but it actually looks like it's a
I'm
red
crying
coat,
right
so it
now.
kind of is like a British one. But either way,
Yeah.
Don't bring a musket or anything, please. I mean,
Gotta bring my
good luck
musket.
getting that through security. We'll just answer this question. Should I start Curtis Samuel and Najee Harris as my flex this week? I'd still probably start Curtis Samuel if I'm being honest here.
Yeah, honestly, it feels gross, but Najee, just like I brought up earlier, go rewind the show, check it out, what we said earlier. But yeah, Najee has me worried.
Yes. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got to get out of here. We will see you. Same bat time, same bat channel, youtube.com/lightning round for you audio listeners. For Britt Flinn, for Andrew Cooper, I am Kevin Tompkins, and Britt is going to hit us out with the
Toodles.